everyone, so today we're going to look at the structure of the face, so how the face is made up, where the features go, and how to build up the face, hopefully in a simple way. So we're going to start, I'm using an HB pencil, so quite a light pencil for this, because I'm going to rub a lot of this out when I finish. So I'm going to start by sketching a really light circle for the top of the skull here. Now if you want to refer to some of my previous videos where I'm teaching you how to hold the pencil, how to get light sketchy marks and how to draw circles freehand, then you can look at some of those videos first if you want to. If not, just try and do a circle the best you can using very light sketchy marks like this. Okay. Now what I want you to do is take a vertical line starting at the top of the circle and divide that circle in half. Okay, so again we're coming down again really lightly. This is a guideline only, so we will be rubbing this out. And I want you to take that line down just probably less than the width of the circle, the diameter of the circle, so that's probably about right. Okay. Now you're going to take a line from here and we're going to join it down here to form the bottom half of the face. So we're going to come down, we're going in slightly. Around here, this is going to be the jawline. So we're then going to curving a little bit more sharply now down to the chin. And the same on the other side. So I'm coming down quite straight. Then I'm going to start bringing it in for the chin. Okay, then we've got a rough face shape. Now obviously everybody has a completely different face shape, so this is just gives us a good starting point. So we've got the nice curve up here for the skull, and then the straight little bit sort of coming down here for the cheekbones, and then in on the jawline and into the chin. Okay, once you've done that, you can rub out that bottom half of the circle, so you've got your face shape. Now what we're going to do is we want to split this long line, this vertical line, in half. So you can either do it by measuring if you want to use a ruler. I tend to just use my sight, so I use my fingers like this and try and get them to match. So I might put a little mark there and then just check that that is the same distance. This is really important. If this first line is wrong, the whole face proportions will be wrong as well. So you need to just double check that. Okay, so that's your first line. Now this line is also going to be rubbed out. So using a very light pencil mark, you're just going to section the head in half now. Okay, so we've got this nice cross going on. Please don't do a hard mark because you will end up with lines all over the face. Now once you've done that line, we're then going to section the bottom half of the face into half. So this is the top of the line, this is the bottom of the line. You're going to kind of work out where halfway is roughly. Again, everybody's faces are different, so it tends to be changing on different people, so don't worry about it too much. But get it roughly halfway, or again measure it with a ruler if you prefer. And then again, really light mark. Probably, I don't know how much you can see on the video, I'm doing it so lightly, but hopefully you can see it. Then again, you're going to section this bit in half. So that's the top of your line now, and that's the bottom, and you're going to find halfway. Okay, and I'm just going to do that by sight. I think that is roughly halfway, like that. And that's going to give us a bit of a guideline about where to put those features. Now on this middle line here, this is our eye line. Okay, so this is where we're going to put the eyes. This is where we're going to put the tip of the nose. Okay, and this is where we're going to put the midline of the mouth. So you don't need to write this on your drawing, this is just so that you can see. Now what I need you to do is divide up this eye line into 5 parts, okay? Now I tend to start by the middle one here. Either side of the middle line is going to be the width of the nose. Okay, so I'm going to probably make it something like that. Then I'm going to look between this mark here and this mark here, and then do that halfway. Okay, and the same here, we'll look at that and look at that and then do it roughly halfway. And then you get fairly equal 5 parts across that line. You can, of course, do it by measuring if you want to, but it just takes a whole lot longer. As you practice at this, you'll be able to do it by sight and just looking at it and going, yes, they are pretty equal 5 parts there. Okay, now in this second section here and the 4th section, this is going to be your eyes. So you can just gently mark on where the eyes are going to go. Now, my previous video, if you haven't watched it, teaches you how to draw the eyes and the nose and the mouth in detail. So I'm just going to show you on this video where to place them, and then all of the detail you can use from the other video. I'm going to push a little bit harder here so you can now see. So we're going to put the eyes on there. Okay. Now, the tip of the nose is going to go on here. So again, you're going to create the nose exactly as I showed you in the last video. Okay, so we're going to just create the shape, and I'm not going to do any more sort of detail than that really, just for the purposes of showing you where everything is. Okay, so we've got the tip of the nose, and then the nose will come up here. Okay, and then this line here, now we don't know how wide the mouth is at the moment, so as a general guide, we're going to drop a line from the middle of the eye down, and that should show us how wide roughly that mouth is going to be. Now again, some people have teeny tiny mouths and some have really big mouths, so you're going to need to adjust this depending on who you're drawing. But that will show you where your midline starts and ends. So remember, with the mouth, you can look at the videos again, we did our midline, and then we drew on the top lip and the bottom lip like that. Okay, so all of the detail we can do later. So this is just purely to help you position everything in the right places, and then you've got your chin here. Okay, now something we didn't add on the last video was eyebrows. So take a diagonal line out from your eye a little bit like this, and that will show you roughly where your eyebrows are going to end, and the middle of your eyebrow is going to be in line with the inside of your eye roughly. Again, some people have big bushy eyebrows, some people have very delicate eyebrows, so you're going to look at who you're actually drawing. Okay, now this may look like a big space up here, okay, but actually if you look at yourself in the mirror and you put your hand on top of your head and your hand on your chin, you will see that your eyes are pretty much halfway down your head. They're not 3/4 of the way up, which is where a lot of people draw them. And in fact, even after watching this video, some of you will still draw them up there because that's where you feel they should be, but they're actually not. So in this section of the head, roughly halfway, again, everyone's different, this is going to be where your hairline is. So this is where your hair grows. So if you've got a fringe or anything, you can pick up your fringe and you can see where that hair grows. Your hair doesn't grow on the top of your head. So if you're drawing it only up here, it basically means you're drawing yourself bald over most of it, and then you've got a little bit of hair growing on the top of your head, which I'm sure you haven't. So this is where your hairline is. So if you just take a curved line down like this, roughly down to the eyes, like that, that will give you an idea of where your hair is going to be. Okay, now this bit is up for debate depending on what kind of hairstyle you have, but if you've got longer hair, then this might be your parting, and you're going to have all the hair growing from the parting, like downwards like this. Now we always bring the hair above the top of the head, because if you look at your hair, it doesn't stay flat and look like it's glued to your skull. So it's always coming up a little bit, and that will make it look more natural. And it will always come away from your head as well. So if you've got longer hair, you might not see the ears. So your hair might be touching the side of your face here. Okay, like that. You might not have to draw any ears. If you need to draw a fringe on, the fringe is going to come from your hairline. So the hair is going to come like that. Okay. Now, if you've got short hair, like me. Oh, I've got a bit of red on my rubber there. I need to clean my rubber. If you've got short hair like me, my hair flicks down here with my fringe, and as you all know, it flicks upwards. I've got short spiky blonde hair like this, so this is how I would start to mark on my hair. And the only part of my ears that you actually see are the earlobes. Now the earlobes tend to go in line with the bottom of your nose, so I can get away with just drawing an earlobe like this, and then my hair comes down, it flicks out above my ears like that, so it touches the side of my face and it flicks over. In fact, my ears look very big there. I'm going to rub those out, so they're a lot smaller than that. So I'm going to flick my hair out, it comes down here. And then also, because I'm not bald on the back, you can actually see parts of my hair flicking from behind as well. Okay, so that's another hairstyle. Now, boys maybe with shorter hair, so that's the top of the head, bring that down. So boys, you might, and people with short hair, you might have it flicking like this, and then you might keep it quite close in. You might have hair, in fact we all do, you have like hair that grows in front of your ears, so it might come more onto your face like this, in which case we're going to see a little bit more of your ear. Now this is a good time to look in the mirror and look at your ears, but the top of the ear is generally bigger than the bottom. Okay, and then we have an ear hole, we have a little flap there, it sort of folds over. So you would draw the hair coming down and disappearing behind that ear. Okay, and growing in front of it like this, because again, you don't want to look bald. Alright, so it might just come down like that. You might not see any hair coming out because it might be really short. Okay, so if that's the case, we're then going to draw the neck and the shoulders. I just want to show you the neck and the shoulders quickly. So the neck, I quite often see very, very, very teeny tiny necks, and in which case if they're a real, your head would fall off. So we need to give the person a neck that will actually hold their big heavy head, but not so big that they look like a big rugby player with a big muscly neck. So I tend to work from the jawline here, so where the jawline is, we're going to bring the neck in with a slight curve, like this, and then we're just going to slightly curve it outwards. Okay, and the same here from the jawline, we're going to go slightly in and then out. Okay, and then we're going to gently slope the shoulders off. Again, the rule with the shoulders is the width of the face. The width of the head tends to be the width of each shoulder. So in most cases, if you're drawing on a piece of A4 paper like this and you've drawn the head quite big, you won't fit the shoulders on completely. So you're going to gently slope them. Let me just measure. And then they're going to go down. Okay, so they're just gently, this one particularly, this one's closer to the edge of my paper, so I'm just going to gently slope it off. Okay, again, we don't want shoulders that go down at an extreme angle, and we certainly don't want shoulders that come out horizontally. Okay, because our shoulders really don't do that unless, again, we might be a rugby player and we've got very, very big muscly shoulders, and then they might come up a little bit more, but generally most of us don't. Okay, so that is the basic structure of the face. Something else you could try if you want to get it looking more like you is if you have a photograph of yourself. So for example, if you want to try doing this, you could take a photograph, get your head and your neck and your shoulders in full view, get it as close up as you can, print it off on your printer in black and white. Then what you can do is you can take a Sharpie or any black pen and go over very accurately where your face shape is and where your particular features are on your face, the size of them, even the direction of your hair, your neck and your clothing. Then you can use that and put it underneath your sketching paper, and you've got everything in the right place for you. Then it's up to you then to use the videos on how to shade your eyes and your nose and so on to then bring it to life a little bit. Okay, so we could start shading the eyes and so on, start getting on the dark and light like I showed you in the last video, and then gradually you will look more and more realistic as the shading goes on. Okay, so I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you can see already that it's starting to come alive a little bit. Now, when you start to put it all together, obviously you're going to have two very realistic eyes, and then you'll do your nose and your mouth. You've got to look in the mirror and look at where the dark and light is on your face as well. So your eye actually sits in a socket, so you get quite a lot of shadow around here, so where the nose starts to form. And when I actually draw a face from scratch, I actually create the nose purely with shading, because it looks more natural. So the side of the nose, you remember in the last video I was saying try not to draw big heavy lines down the side of the nose. Actually do it with shading so that the whole face ends up shaded, but sometimes you're pushing quite hard for the darker shadows, and then you're going to notice where there is much lighter areas. So you'll tend to find there'll be lighter areas on the tops of your cheeks here because they catch the light. You'll get a lot of light down the bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose, and your forehead. You'll get quite a lot of shadow around the nostril here, and particularly if you smile. I'm just going to show you, this is the difference of a photograph of me smiling. You can see the whole shape of my face has changed. So it's pulled it right up. The shape of my mouth has changed. My eyes have closed down a little bit because they're crinkling because I'm smiling. So it's completely different picture to draw. So that's something else to bear in mind, because I actually did a self-portrait recently, and because I was staring at myself in the mirror, I wasn't smiling, and I also took a selfie so that I could carry on drawing it couldn't draw in the mirror the whole time, and I just looked so miserable, and everyone was like, that really doesn't look like you. And then we realised it was because I looked so miserable in the picture. So it's really worth sort of deciding what kind of picture you want to draw. So just vary the pressure. Again, I'm getting lighter now, so this is where we're using the pencil really lightly. Okay, and then I've got a little bit of shadow coming down here. You'll notice that you get a bit of a crease on the bottom of your cheek as it comes down to your mouth. And basically when you put it all together, it looks really realistic. If I shaded this picture now for you, the whole thing, it would probably take me ages because I wouldn't stop. So I'm not going to do that, but I just wanted to start so that you can see how to have a go. Okay, this is quite a complex thing for you to do, so I'm not expecting miracles, but it's good to try and have a go. It's a really good skill to learn, and lots of artists, particularly many years ago when there wasn't, they didn't have many things around them to draw, they artists always fall back on drawing themselves because we've always got ourselves to draw. So it's a good one to do. So just keep going. I think the key is with the shading, don't just shade part of your drawing. You want to shade all of it. If you do part of it, it looks weird like this, okay? It looks a bit like I'm kind of like half coming to life and half a drawing. So you need to have the patience just to keep going if you're going to start with the shading. Otherwise it looks, for example here, the shading I'm putting underneath this lip, if I just did that shading, I'd look like I've got a bit of a kind of beard thing going on. Whereas if I continue the shading everywhere, it will just literally look like that's a bit of a shadow. And then the chin here catches the light, okay? So you need to shade the whole thing. Eyebrows we didn't talk about last time, but they are hair. So look at the direction of the growth and just use little marks like that for the eyebrows, okay? The ears, you'll get a little bit of shadow sort of there, but you'll get quite a lot of light on the ear lobe, okay? Underneath the chin, you're going to get some shadowing because your head is creating a shadow on your neck. Alright, so we do definitely want a little bit of shadowing in there. Again, don't just do a little bit because it will look like, again, you've got a bit of a weird beard going on. So you need to complete the shading there, okay? Up here, you're going to have lots and lots of light, but you still need a little bit of shading. And then the hair, the most realistic hair is when, again, you've got dark areas and light areas. So if you look at your hair, it may be one colour, but in some areas it will look darker, particularly the hair underneath, and some it will look lighter. So you're going to vary the pressure and also see where your shadows are for your hair, and more importantly, which direction the hair goes in. Okay. So you can just start working on that. So there you go, that's another alternative way of doing a portrait and getting it a little bit more realistic so that you get your outline sort of for you by using a photograph, and then you work into it like this. You can make it a lot more like you. I hope you have fun doing this, and I will see you soon.